Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another manga showcase video, looking at one of my favorite series, as well as a lot of people's favorite series, Fullmetal Alchemist. So today we're going to be looking at the covers for both the hardcover edition and the paperback version, as well as the art book, the 20th anniversary companion piece, as well as just looking at my two favorite figures that I've got in my collection. So let's jump straight into it. So I'm going to be doing this video a little differently today. Instead of going through all the paperback first and then the hardcovers, I'm actually going to do them both at the same time. The aim of this is so then you can kind of see where each arc lines up from the paperback to the hardcover, as the hardcovers actually cover about 1.5 of the original paperback version, so they won't line up exactly, but I'm hoping for the people that are reading this series for the first time, or maybe even watching, and don't want to get spoiled on some of the later volume covers, they can watch up to where they're up to, and that way they can skip to the end or just not watch that part, because I don't want them spoiled. I want them to obviously experience the series for the first time, so hopefully this is a bit of a unique way to do it. But first up, let's jump straight in. We've got volume 1 of the Fullmetal edition, so we've got Edward Elric on the front. Each one of these volumes has this really nice sort of texture glow to it, you can kind of see there. And on the inside we've got the art. So each volume is very similar. They'll have the art on the inside as well as sketches at the back. As mentioned, it will cover about 1.5 of these paperbacks, so I've tried to line it up as best I can. So we'll go 2 volumes to 1, 2 to 1, but we'll get the gist. But here's volume 1 of the original Fullmetal paperback version with Edward and Alphonse. Then volume 2 with Edward and Alphonse on there as well. Now it's really cool, with all the binders of the original paperback, you actually get every single important character bar 2. Now I believe it's Hughes and Lust are the only 2 that don't make it on the binder, which I think that's why she ended up putting Arakawa, she ended up putting Lust on one of the hardcover edition covers. Volume 2, we've got Alphonse on the front. You can see his blood seal on the back. And there he is, Alphonse in the middle. Volume 3, the paperback. Got Mustang's first appearance in the cover with Hawkeye and Alexander. Volume 3, we finally get Mustang on his cover. It's a nice blue that covers this one. I really do enjoy it. You can see you got his flame alchemy on the back. So this volume covers the laboratory arc. So you got Scar, who's introduced in the last volume. This is your real proper introduction to the homunculus. You start to see a few more. You see Envy for the first time, and a little bit more of Greed. Got Scar on the side. And we have Winry's first appearance in volume 5, on the cover at least, with Den, the dog, and Winry on the side. Next up we have volume 4 with Hawkeye on the front cover. It's got a cool little smoke effect coming up from her bullet. Hawkeye is definitely one of my favorite characters in the whole series, but you also have the rest of Mustang's unit on the back. So you got Jean, Foreman, Breda, and Fury. And we'll have a look on the inside as well with Black Hayate, which are all named after, I believe, American helicopters or ships. One of the two. It's been a while, I can't quite remember what they're named after. It's something military. Volume 6 of the paperback. So fun fact, it was around here when the original 2003 anime actually began. So that's how early into the life cycle of FMA was. And that's why the anime ended up taking an original ending or original story, essentially, because they didn't have that much to work with. Essentially, it got through their flashback and basically up to when Greed was introduced. And that's why the homunculus after that point are a little bit different from how their extra story goes. But they did very well with what they had to work with. So still very enjoyable. Volume 5, we have Izumi Curtis, also another amazing character with her stay-at-home wife knife on the front. She's just a housewife, as she says, but she is still one of the coolest characters. The longest time, I didn't realize that these were part of her hair being pulled back. I just thought it was like dreadlocks, which it kind of is, but it took me a while to realize what her hairstyle was going for. Volume 7, here we go, Greed's proper first introduction. I love the red on this one. As well as King Bradley on the side. His big revelation there. Volume 8, so this covers when they go back to Rush Valley and Ling is actually introduced. So this is why Ling doesn't appear in the original 2003 series, because he hadn't been even introduced in the manga at that point. But another amazing character. Volume 6, here we go. So we have Lust finally making her appearance on a cover. And also Sloth on the back with Greed. And there she is in all her glory. Love the purple. The purple really goes well with her. And volume 9 of the paperback there. Now, I can't remember where I've read this. It might be in one of the behind the scenes or the art book, but I believe this is Araka's favorite cover. I think she just says she loves the composition and the yellow, and how it captures the whole Mustang unit just in one cover. I'm not too sure where I've read that, but I do remember reading that quote, and I agree, this is a fantastic cover. Volume 7. So we have May's introduction. Another fan fake character. Which Xiao Mei. She is. Pink, also a great colour for her. There you go, volume 10 of the paperback. So this covers the framing of Maria Ross, as well as Edward going out to the Xerxes ruins and Risenbul as well. So, and this is when Hohenheim actually gets. It has been introduced prior to this point, but it's the first time Edward actually sees him after all these years and gets a revelation about how his human transmutation went. So this is a great cover. Volume 8 kicks off the arc with Scar's return. So this is back in Central after they learn a few truths, using Scar as some bait. Well, not as bait, but more just to get Edward to bring out the homunculus. I actually love Scar's jacket. It's a shame that he doesn't wear it the entire series past his introduction. The one thing I really do like about the 2003 anime is he does have that jacket for a lot longer. This is a fantastic cover, one of my favorite parts in the entire manga. So you have Winry's moment with the gun, Ling being a total badass, and Scar's also learning about some revelations there too. But fantastic cover, this one. I love the green. Volume 9, we've got Envy on the cover. Definitely the best homunculus, does the most. Most turmoil in the whole series. Got Gluttony on the back. But yes, this does cover the sections of going inside Gluttony's stomach. And definitely one of my favorite moments in the entire series, actually. The moment when Edward sees Alphonse's body for the first time as he's going through the Portal of Truth. And just that moment when he smashes back through the door to tell Alphonse, just you wait, I'll be coming back for you. It honestly sends shivers down my spine. I love the moment. That's the moment when I know the series was special. I mean, it was already amazing up to this point, but that was the moment I knew, like, it's just the tale of these two brothers just trying to get back home to each other. There we go, volume 13. Really ominous cover from Edward. And volume 14. So covering just the last part as they come out of Gluttony's stomach, and officially introduced to Father. Moving on to the second half of the series, and we have Armstrong on the cover. So this part of the manga follows the Ishval flashback, which actually is a lot longer than the anime version. Covers about three volumes of the paperback version. Which this one also is one of my favorites. So volume 15 of the paperback. I love it. It captures the somberness of, well, just the toll of war and what these characters have gone through and essentially what they're fighting for. Volume 11, sorry, we have Soft J Kimberly, another amazing character, properly introduced on the covers as well. He was introduced in the Ishval flashback, but this is the moment when he comes out and goes on the hunt for Scar up to Briggs. And this is the official start of the Briggs arc, so one of the longer arcs as well. So this is when Edward and Alphonse heads up north to gain the help of Olivia Armstrong, which here she is on the next cover right there. Also another amazing character. I wish she was introduced a lot earlier so we could get more of her, but you know, I think halfway through the series is still a good introduction. Finally, at volume 12, we get a Winry cover for the hardcover versions. I'm not too sure why it took so long. I think her cover would have done a lot better earlier, like around the Rush Valley incident. I do understand she plays a little bit of a part in the Briggs section as she sort of escapes with Scar and everyone, but I do wish her cover came a little bit early, but still an absolutely adorable cover. Volume 18, we finally get Pride's revelation of who is actually Pride, because it was the last homunculus we hadn't actually seen. And here we go, Olivia Armstrong on volume 13 of the hardcover. Just an absolute presence with those big lips that she has. Just an absolutely amazing character design. Volume 19 of the paperback. So you do finally get to see Hohenheim's flashback, as well as the creation of Father in volume 13 of the hardcover as well. And this is when, I believe Edward comes back after his injury, fighting off Kimberly, and joins with Greed, which ties nicely into the next cover, or Greedling. There's lots of different translations of how you want to call this character. I know the anime calls it Greedling. I can't remember what the manga calls it, but it's definitely not that. It's like green or something like that. It's a bit odd, but call it however you like. He's still an awesome character of Ling and Greed. But this is about the start of the Promise Day, so essentially the final arc that goes all the way to the end of the series. So this is when Pride is taking over Alphonse's body. Volume 15, we've got Hohenheim on the cover. And I believe he's got a really nice picture. Yep, there he is, looking so aloof and goofy, just not the character you think he'd be, just doesn't like to fight, but if his sons are involved, he'll always step in. And here we go, we've got the Elric family on the cover, all three of them together. Very casual. That's what I like about the paperback versions, is you get to see these characters in, you know, scenarios that obviously the main series doesn't allow them to be, relaxed and calm. Having said that, the next cover though is not relaxed or calm. It's Mustang during the Envy fight, as he may or may not finally get his revenge. Volume 16, King Bradley, as well as Salim on the back, as the last two remaining homunculi at this point. King Bradley, an amazing character, also just born with the name King, ready to lead the nation. Similar paperback cover as well, so this is when you got King Bradley returning after his attempted assassination and the fight with the Shingese. Almost towards the end, so we have volume 17 with Father in his final form as he attains godhood with the homunculus in the flask at the back, so we always remember what he looks like. There's his creepy design as he gets rid of his handbag, or leather bag as Hohenheim calls it. Absolutely creepy design, but I do love that final design by him. And with volume 25 of the paperback, so seeing Alphonse unfortunately have to say no to going back to his body, as he knows he's needed for that final fight. So it's a very, very sad sacrifice for Alphonse, and he knows he could go back, but he just can't do it quite yet. And the second last volume, 26 of the paperback, so we've got the 5 sacrifices on the front cover, with Mustang specifically looking the other way due to what he had to sacrifice. And finally, we have the last volume of the hardcover editions. So we got Edward all the way at the end of the series, as well as Alphonse, with some of the photos of where the characters are up to. You can see Mustang with a totally different hairstyle. I absolutely love this volume. I love seeing just how far these kids have gone throughout the whole journey, and for them to finally get their happy ending. Which also brings us to the last paperback cover, with Edward holding Alphonse's helmet, with just a fist on the side cover. Amazing ending to the series, and I love all these covers. Now, there's not a lot of differences between the Fullmetal edition and the paperback version. They did change the lettering of the manga between the two versions, so as you can see in the Fullmetal edition, the text is just a lot larger. They've used a different font that's, I think, just a little bit more exciting. There are small dialogue changes, but they're honestly so minimal. They're just a bit more current with kind of what our translations have kept up to. The animated sound effects as well, they've just had a remake over. I believe they actually redrew them for this version. It just makes everything a bit more pop, a bit more expressive, a bit more exciting, but honestly they are very similar. So the main reason if you do want to have these Fullmetal editions, if you have the original, is just the enlarged picture as well as getting the color spreads in each chapter. The only thing that's missing from all the other editions seems to be just the gag manga at the end of the paperbacks. I've gone through my Fullmetal editions, I don't find them in there, as well as the art and 20th anniversary books. Unless I've just missed them, I don't think these have been reprinted in any other format. So that might just be something a little bit unique of having that original paperback. Next up is the 20th anniversary book of Fullmetal Alchemist. So this is the collection of all these short mangas that wasn't published in the official run. So we got some short stories at the front. If you've seen the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood OVAs, this is actually where they come from. Some of them are just short stories like this. Some give a bit of background of why Winry actually wears earrings. Some give a bit more backstory to how Hughes and Mustang actually met. You've got Izumi Curtis surviving in the Briggs Mountain. You hear this throughout the entire series of a crazy woman surviving in the mountains for a month, so you actually get to see it. It includes some of the gag manga, but not all of it from the back of those paperback ones. Most of these are the tie-ins from the video games or the films, just all the things that are published. Not originally in English, so it's good you can finally sort of go through everything. But if you like Fullmetal and you just want a little bit more of it, just to see all the artwork that she's ever done, this is a great little companion piece to have. And yeah, celebrates the 20th anniversary of Fullmetal Alchemist. And finally, we have the complete art book of Fullmetal Alchemist. So this, I think, is definitely a must-have if you are a collector of art. This collects all the color spreads from the physical, the paperback version, of when it was released. So it has all the individual covers in. If you buy the Fullmetal editions, you are seeing this, but this is just the artwork blown up. As you can see here. So this is the cover from volume 3, but you get a nice large spread of it. But it's good to finally be able to see those color spreads, the anniversary. So these are like the images that are published in the magazine to celebrate certain milestones. But it's so nice to see this artwork in such high quality detail. It's pretty hefty, so it goes through all the years as it was being published. The fascinating thing you can see is that Fullmetal almost had a color spread for, I think, almost every chapter. Well, I don't want to say almost every chapter, but it had quite a lot of color spreads just to kind of show how popular this series was. So if you love looking at some of this art, like yeah, it's a great piece of the Mustang unit. It even includes the tie-ins for the video game, similar to the 20th anniversary. So there's a lot of art that I'd never seen before. So this is really cool to see. Like you can see, this is from a special calendar, so artwork I never would have seen outside of that before. Another one from a video game. But I would say if you love Fullmetal and you really want to complete your collection, I'd say this is a definite must-have. It really completes it. Like, look how gorgeous some of this artwork is. But definitely recommend picking this one up. So first up we have this Edward Elric figure, which I got in Japan many years ago in an alleyway. I'm honestly not too sure who the studio that makes this was, because I've just found it on the shelf and they didn't actually have the box at the time, so they just bubble wrapped it. I've always loved this figure. It very much looks like Edward from the first couple of chapters, a bit more younger, a bit more brash. Like I said, don't really know who made it or where it's from. I think I might have found a photo of it many years ago, but I still like it. It's definitely still part of my collection and usually sits on my shelf. Here we have the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Edward and Alphonse Elric figure by Proof Studios. This is definitely one of my favorite figures in my collection, as I really feel like it captures both sides of the same coin of the brother's personality. So you have Edward, who's, you know, looking up into the sky, looking away from his brother, and, you know, it's someone who can live in the moment, but who's trying to attain something more, something that's out of his reach. And then on the other side of that, you have Alphonse, who doesn't have a body, he can't live a normal life, but he's looking down to the ground, he's taking in life, such as the cats that are on his lap. He's someone that can't live a normal life, but is trying to live in the moment. So that's why I love this figure so much. It really captures both sides of these characters really well, and it's, yep, definitely my favorite in my collection. So there we have my Fullmetal Alchemist collection. Let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite cover of it? Do you prefer the paperback editions or the hardcover editions? What's your favorite moment in the manga? And, you know, is this the first time you're ever seeing it? But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.